Hey guys, it's Haff. I am back again, and this is going to be an update kind of video because I haven't updated in a month or so. As some of you may know, if you've been watching my videos, I had surgery at the start of April, 8th of April I think it was, to have my gallbladder taken out. That surgery all went fine and dandy. There were no issues at all, so it was keyhole surgery. It was quite a terrifying experience for me, but the nursing staff at the Royal Adelaide Hospital were amazing, and I did have to sit for quite some time before I went into my surgery, like 4 hours. I was waiting. There were people who waited longer than me, so I can't really complain, but I was last on the operating list. Something about being last on everything. Anyway, so yeah, that all went fine. The last thing I remember before the surgery was the theatre nurse saying that she didn't like Melbourne because it rained too much. And then I woke up in recovery. So, and they listened to me when I told them not to give me morphine. So I didn't have any really nasty reactions after the surgery. Because morphine and me do not agree in any shape or form. It's a different process having other surgeries to having children. When you have children and you end up on a ward, there are never any men, unless they're visitors. However, I ended up in a room with 3 other men. One of which was annoying and inconsiderate to other people with his television. Another one who apparently didn't know how a call button worked. And a third one who I didn't even know was there until I actually heard a nurse talking to him. So it was an interesting experience, all in all. I went home the next day with no real issues. One of my scars, which is the one that's kind of like at the top, sort of around about my sternum area, it's still a little bit tender and it's a little bit red, but a doctor's looked at it recently and he's like, no, that's fine, don't worry about it. The other 3 have basically healed up. It was one of my belly button I thought wasn't going to heal properly because my mum had issues with that one, and I have a really deep belly button, but it's healed up fine, so that's all good. I can still actually feel where my gallbladder used to be. It's kind of a weird sensation. So it's not like I'm 100% healed. There are like little tiny things that are still sorting themselves out. But it's nice to be able to eat whatever I want again. That's pretty awesome. I've pretty much weaned off the OptiSlim except for breakfast most days. I still have a shake. I have put on back on a little bit of weight, but in the last week I've got back into like exercising now that I'm feeling a little bit better. Unfortunately, less than 2 weeks after having surgery, a very nasty virus hit my household and took out everybody. Normally in our house, there's like 7 people living in the house. Normally if somebody gets a cold, 1 or 2 people will get it and that'll be it. This time, every single person in the household has managed to catch it, and some people have got it quite badly, myself included. And then I was getting better and I thought everything was fine, and I ended up with an incredibly sore throat and it was all swollen and I was having trouble swallowing, like razor blade swallowing, which is why my voice sounds a little weird. If you'd heard me a couple of days ago, it was even worse. Apparently doctors refer to that as hot potato mouth, like hot potato voice. It's like it sounds like you've got a hot potato stuck in your mouth or something. So I did actually go see a doctor just to check, and he basically said that it's probably viral, and if it's bacterial, that it needs to wait a couple of days before they think about antibiotics. So I haven't had any antibiotics or anything, which is fine because I bloody hate them anyway. They always cause thrush. Doesn't matter what I do. So yeah, I'm almost recovered from that now, so I'm trying to exercise at least a couple of times a week, 3 or 4 times a week, and the kids are on school holidays at the moment, but they go back to school on Monday, which means my dance exercise class starts up on Wednesday, which would be good, because I'm looking forward to going back and doing that, because it was fun. Yeah, so all of that's sort of like the physical health updating things. From a mental health point of view, I haven't actually seen my therapist for 6, 7 weeks or something. The last time he was available, I wasn't available because I was in town with my kids going to dentist appointments, which is kind of sad, really. Um, and I really do need to go see him again. Um, it's one of the things that people who don't have mental health kind of don't necessarily understand. My life is going great at the moment. Things are like moving along, and I'm happy, but I still get the urge to check out, and that's kind of scary, and it's part of the illness. And there's a lot of trigger type stuff around at the moment, which as an adult and a person who's responsible for their own mental health, I try to avoid situations that I know are triggering to me. Unfortunately, you can't always avoid them because there are other things in control of certain aspects of the world. So, for example, in Australia, there is a royal commission into the abuse of children in churches and institutions, and it's often on the news, and certain aspects of that are very confronting. And I don't watch the news, but my mum does, and so I will hear it, and I can find that really, really difficult. It can trigger certain feelings within me. And then there are other things which I find quite difficult to deal with, which you would think that I would have the opposite reaction to what I'm actually having. One of them is, although it doesn't affect my country, it does affect people I know, and that's the whole transgendered people in toilets thing that is currently going on, and this idea that young children are going to be assaulted by somebody trying to use the target's decision to make you go into your assigned toilet, your birth assigned toilet. Generally speaking, in fact, almost completely, there is, very little empirical evidence to suggest otherwise. People who are transgendered are the victims of crimes, not the perpetrators of crimes. And the idea that some man is going to go to all the trouble of dressing as a woman in order to go into a women's toilet in order to molest a child or assault a woman is actually fairly illogical. Number one, public toilets in shopping centres are some of the most highly trafficked areas that you can go into, and a predator is not going to choose that as an option. There's too high a risk of getting caught. There are other toilets, public toilets, where that is a completely different matter, like drive-in movie theatres and individual toilets at night in isolated locations. They are more likely to be the locations of that kind of incident. And most predators are, crimes of opportunity. The people who are saying things like, oh, my 3-year-old might get molested in the toilet, what the fuck is your 3-year-old doing going to the toilet on their own in a public toilet? Go in there with them. You just solved the problem. You go in there with them. Predator is not going to attack, or a pedophile is not going to attack your 3-year-old child if you're standing right there. That's not how it works. And the other thing to consider is the fact that your child is more likely to be molested by somebody that you know, not some stranger in a toilet. That really, really bugs me, and it bugs me because people are putting this idea that people who are transgendered, or people who are gay, or people who are different are the ones that we should be watching out for in terms of predators and pedophiles, and they're not the ones that you should be worried about. Because I can tell you right now, that's not what they look like. I know, I've been there, I've dealt with that. They look like average, ordinary, everyday people. Those people that you think you can trust, often people in positions of power and trust. And it absolutely irks me. Like, it has been rant material for me in this household for at least a couple of days now. The idea that your child is going to get molested because somebody who's transgendered is in the toilet. And, you know, if you go to the toilet as assigned by your birth, that would mean that you want Caitlyn Jenner to be going into the men's toilet. Or Laverne from Orange is the New Black going into the men's toilet. And you want a female who has changed sex to a man to go into a woman's toilet. The only thing I can think that that's going to do is increase acts of violence against people who are transgendered, not reduce the chances of assault on other people. It is just going to make it easier for those people who don't like transgendered people to actually work out who's transgendered and who's not. And that is an issue. I think that is a far bigger concern than anything else. So, you know, all those Americans who want to boycott Target because they're saying go to the toilet that you associate your gender with, they're actually trying to solve a problem, and they're trying to make it easier for people who are already suffering every day because they're different. So that's my mini rant today on things that affect my mental health, because it does. It really upsets me, and that tends to make things a little bit worse. See, I'm not 100% well. So, yeah, mental health wise, I am basically fine, but I am still having moments where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And, you know, those moments kind of scare me a little bit, but that's part of dealing with having the mental illnesses that I actually have. Then update on what is happening with my channel things. I had intended to continue doing my project polish in the same way that I had been doing it, which was to pick polishes at the start of the month and then just use them during the month. However, I've recently got involved a lot more on Instagram in particular with different nail art challenges. And there are a few different people who put different ones out every month. And so I've decided that I'm going to focus more on doing a lot of like the nail art challengey type things. And as a result, I'm not picking my polishes at the start of the month. I'm tending to make decisions on what I want to wear, depending on what nail art I'm going to be doing. Although I am actually focusing on polishes that I haven't actually worn. So my nail polish collection is split up into two parts. There's the ones that have already been worn, and then there's the ones that I haven't actually worn. So I tend to focus on those that I have already worn, unless like I'm doing something which is a particular colour, like When Colours Collide or Smooshy Sunday, which both are, you get given particular colours of polish to actually use. So if I don't have something in my not already worn, then I will go into my already worn collection and, you know, use those. But I always try to include at least one polish that I haven't actually worn yet. So in a way, I'm still doing my project polish. I'm still doing what my initial intention was, which was to basically try and wear all of my nail polishes at least once. So I'm still doing that. I'm just changing the way that I've been doing it. And you'll notice that my video, I tend to put up a video showing my manicures. For the month, I haven't really been going into the polishes I've been wearing, although I did forget to put up March's. So I will be doing a March and April manicures video, putting one of those up. Yeah, so I will still be showing the manicures that I'm doing, but I'm also hoping to do more tutorial type ones and sort of like showing how I do different nail arts that I actually do. Trying to work out the best way to film them, because they're like angles and stuff. It's a little complicated. Yeah, so my intention is to do a bit more of that kind of thing. So let me know below if you'd like that. Wow, changing light level. So let me know down below if you'd like to see that kind of stuff, or if you have any particular nail art type stuff that you'd like to see, or anything that you'd kind of like to learn how to do. leave that down below and I will add it to the list of things that I need to do. Yeah, so and I'm also putting up slowly my nail polish collection. I've filmed a whole bunch of them. A couple of them have been edited, most of them haven't yet, but I'll try and space those out because I tend to try to put them up when I've got nothing else to put up because I've been a little bit slack and haven't been making videos. And I am contemplating what I'm going to be doing with my hair. I'm actually trying to grow it out. It's sort of getting there very slowly. But I need to do something because my roots are getting ridiculous. But I'm not sure whether I'm going to stick with blonde for a while or whether I'm going to go back to having a really bright colour or whether I'm going to try out, like, I don't know, a pastel or something. So let me know down below what you think I should do. I'm still plotting and planning it somewhat. Yeah, so that is pretty much an update of what is going on with my world. If you have any questions, leave them down below, or any ideas or any of that kind of stuff. Especially if you've got any ideas like tags and stuff that you'd like to see me do to give me some other videos to do, then that would be cool. If you don't already follow me on Snupps and you're on Snupps, I will leave my username down there so that you can find me. Most of my nail polish collection, not all of it yet, but most of my nail polish collection is on there, and most of my makeup is on there already. So if you're interested in seeing what I actually have, then that is the best place to go and see all of that kind of stuff. So that is it for this update. Subscribe down the bottom if you want to see where I'm going. Leave me a thumbs up if you like videos, especially update videos. And leave me a comment down below. I try to respond to all comments, and I'll see you in my next video. See ya.